welcome to session 16 of my Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire Lorethrough. Right now we are just outside the Luminous Bathhouse and Pariki's Overlook. We found out that there was a plan to attack some Vailian Trading Company vessels with Luminous Adra using cannons, and this woman, Tola, I believe her name was, bought some cannons from a merchant. I think maybe he was Prince P. I'm not entirely sure about that. But the first thing I think we're going to do today is go and let the director know about this plan. And then I had a kind of different plan for what we were going to do for the rest of the session. But first, we are done reading from the history in the guidebook. So that section is completed. It brought us right up into the Adra Colossus rising out of Cadnua and stomping his way over to the Deadfire Archipelago. So now I think I want to read from the Gods and Their Worshippers section. This is from Chapter 7 of the guidebook, Churches of Aora. This section focuses not just on the gods themselves, but how they are worshipped. So I think that's kind of interesting. And we've already seen a lot of examples of different methods of worship by God. Like, for example, Aethys, we have the Children of the Dawnstars. That's what Shodi is, about harvesting souls, more about the death aspect of Aethys, and kind of shepherding the souls into the in-between and eventually back into the wheel. And there are other methods of worshiping him as well. Adair seems to be getting into a lot of arguments with Shodi about what her worship and what her dedication to Aethys even means. So I think it's worthwhile to look at the different churches. And the first section here is on the Children of the Dawnstars. So I am first going to read the short introduction called Gods and Their Worshippers, and then I will read about the Children of the Dawnstars. Oh, and that was the other thing that I wanted to say. We also ran into that kind of cult, the Partisans of the Lighted Path, I believe they were called. They were also Aethys worshippers who thought what he was doing as the Adra Colossus, kind of stomping and taking souls for power as he went through the Deadfire Archipelago, was worthy, and they tried to follow him and aid him in his goal and eventually become the souls that he would absorb for power. So we see there are two very different methods of worshiping Aethys. Okay, back to what I was saying before. So we are going to read the short section called Gods and Their Worshippers, and then the Children of the Dawnstars. So this is Gods and Their Worshippers. The gods of Aora represent a broad portfolio of mortal concerns, which leads to the methods of giving them obeisance upon open to interpretation. Some devout kith gather in formal, ostentatious churches for worship, while others find the peace of the divine in the stables, basements, mountaintops, or pools of water. In times of need, kith have been known to gather around less popular interpretations of religious doctrine, adopting unique philosophies of how best to use their few precious years in service of the divine. In most divinely inspired organizations, the devout focus on a god's many faces and aspects at once. Groups which concentrate on a singular aspect of the deity espouse only a sliver of the god or goddess's total portfolio, though their worship is more focused on and intentional in nature. What kith choose to worship at any given time often reflects circumstances around Aora and makes for a gallery of intrigue, conflict, and oddity. And then this is Children of the Dawnstars. After the death of Saint Widewinds, the Saints' War in 2808 AI, melancholy swept through the theocratic colony of Raed Saris. Aethasians struggled to find the meaning in the defeat of their god. Scrambling to restore order, battle-hardened priests transformed their government into penitential regency, which could function until Aethys inevitably returned to reclaim his throne. All the while, the citizens of Raed Saris, who didn't flee the vengeance of their enemies, turned on their neighbors, rooting out faithlessness wherever it could be found and blaming it for their downfall. These were times of stress, accusation, guilt, and cruelty. So where the Deerwood was punishing Aethys worshippers after the Saints' War, it seems Raed Saris was punishing people who abandoned Aethys. On top of their other woes, the Raed Sarin crops of dye-producing Vorlis plant failed to yield a harvest, which led to a crippling economic downturn. Some 10,000 of the faithful left the colony to seek employment where they could find it, and where the persecution would not follow. Aiming their ships toward the rising sun was an act as symbolic as it was practical, narrowing their purpose on a trajectory with a symbol of hope and rebirth. To the delight of these wayward pilgrims, their crops took to the Deadfire soil better than they had in Raid Saris, where the Adiran Emperor had always insisted on planting crops which were ill-suited to the region. Those who persisted in farming eventually settled on pea berries as a hardy staple crop. Others relocated the colonial settlements or Huana villages, where they carved out positions of usefulness in tribal society and spread their Athasian faith without fear of oppression. Owing to their selfless ambitions, the Dawnstars have enjoyed favorable dealings with the Huana. As far as the trading companies are concerned, close involvement with the local affairs has earned the Dawnstars a reputation as petty irritants, though nothing approaching violence has ever broken out over largely political and ethical conflicts. So the Children of the Dawnstars then are former Raid Sarens who, after the turmoil caused by the end of the Saints' War, left for the Deadfire Archipelago. And that's why we see so many of them here. They have a church, the Temple of Gon, in the Sacred Stair section of Neketaka. And we see Shodi too. She is one of our companions and a representative for us of the Children of the Dawnstars. Okay, so that's it from the guidebook for now. We are going to go to the Vailian Trading Company to let Director Castol know about the plan. Let me look at these names here. So this is Dirty Laundry. And we found out, I've learned that Corno is supplying the Principe with high-grade munitions. I can report back to Castol for now, or I can dig for more details. And then deep in her cups, Tola mentioned that she's planning a raid on a Vailian Trading Company convoy carrying Luminous Adra. So Corno is a Royal Deadfire Company official, and Tola, who's the person that bought the cannons, is the Principe captain. So there is kind of like a conspiracy between the Royal Deadfire Company and the Principe to attack the Vailian Trading Company. Although, now that I'm saying that, I don't know that, what's his name here? Corno is acting with the blessing of the Royal Deadfire Company or not. He may just be like doing this on his own. He is a merchant after all. Can't go to the Vailian Trading Company because sometimes it's closed. Hour 22. I feel like it might be closed at this point. We'll see. It looks like daytime, so maybe not. Nope, it's closed. Alright, let's wait until morning. I think Director Castol is on the second floor. Let me check the first floor first. Maybe I'll just say Director's office or something. Yeah, okay.
Do you suppose a Hasongo was a kind of vengeance for Rawatai's assistance with the Godhammer? Oh, listen to me. It all sounds perfectly mad.
Rawatai's assistance with the Godhammer. I'm gonna have to look up the history of the creation of the Godhammer bomb. I did not realize that Rawatai was involved in that. Unless he's just trying to spread rumors. I'm going to tell him I took care of things at the bathhouse.
Perfetto. What did you discover?
Corno selling gunpowder and weapons to the Principe.
Deverus? That is worse than I suspected. Please, explain. Spare me no details.
Tola's planning on using Royal Deadfire Company weapons against Vailian Trading Company convoy carrying Luminous Adra.
Madiko, our convoy routes are meant to be a well-guarded secret. I might as well have sent the Principe a letter.
That's all.
That is enough to work with. Aggressiva. I do believe I'm going to ruin Quarno's day. I do have another matter I could use your assistance with, Watcher. If you have a moment.
What do you need?
It concerns a business associate. A captain by the name of Ferrante. Something of a notable figure among the Principi, I'm told.
Wait, you're working with a Principi captain?
A more reasonable specimen, but yes. Not the most ideal of circumstances, but then little about any of this has been ideal. Captain Ferrante will have the details, but the matter concerns a contact of his on the island of Crookspur. Apparently, they're having some trouble out there with the hostile tribe. You help them, Ferrante helps the company. You've proven resourceful. You make the logical choice.
You're not telling me something.
I would not normally enter into such pacts with the likes of Ferrante. The company's assets are in some disarray. Our resources are not what they once were. It is a shameful state of affairs, but I am doing what I can to remedy the situation. You'll find Ferrante in Dunwich. Dunwich is a den for pirates, as you might imagine. You'll likely be in less danger there than on the sea, but all the same, I recommend extreme caution.
I think we already need to go to Dunwich for another quest that we got at the very beginning of the game, so kill two birds with one stone there. Okay, so I said I wanted to switch it up a little bit this time. One of the joys, for me anyway, of this game is just exploring the open sea. And I haven't really done that much of that in this playthrough so far. We did a little bit at the beginning, but even that, we always had like an end destination in mind. So this session, I would very much like to what's the word I'm looking for here? To just kind of explore the open ocean. Kind of, I mean, we'll do it in an organized way, hopefully, but more of just kind of like going to see what's out there rather than following any particular quest or having any particular destination in mind. So that's what I think I want to do this time around. So let's go to my ship. And yeah, I'll just take a look at the ocean map and see where we can go. We can do that for a quest for Sansa's Map Emporium. He wants us to find Uncharted Islands. So we will be doing a quest as we do this, but it's more just about exploring this time around, I think. First, let's see if we need any supplies here. We could get a new ship. Should I do that now? Maybe not. We should get some provisions though for my crew. And something that's not going to lower their morale. Okay. I say we're going to be exploring, but I would not be surprised if we get accosted the second we leave. Oh, maybe not. Deadfire merchant there. Okay, so before I get started here, I want to Switch these things up. Okay, so let's head down in this area, directly to the south of us. This is the fog of war of this game. Can't see it anymore, but it's the clouds that you can see on the ocean that we haven't cleared yet, right over here. A plagued ship over here. Looks like there's a storm in the ocean. Still want to keep going this way. These are slavers. Here we can just, you can see that we can skip the whole ship combat thing, which we are definitely going to be doing. This is my new 6th level spell. Daze and confuse them, and then it also dazes and confuses other people around as well. Oh, Shody went down.
Yes.
You'll see that everybody takes part in ship combat, even people that aren't part of my party. Sailor experience. Completing encounters and defeating enemy captains at sea earns sailor experience for crew and captain. Acquiring sailor experience will increase the ranks of a crew member's current job. Crew members can only increase ranks in jobs they already have at least one rank in. The captain always advances their captain rank. Okay. Anything interesting in here? So, interestingly, we do get Cruxburg colors. We're not slavers, but nothing really too impressive there, though. All right, let's head down this way then. Yeah, I just love listening to these songs. Alright, let's see what this is. Tiotara Marvel. The sea here is vast, and as smooth as cyan glass. Jumping up and down, Oswald shouts and points to a port at the pale pillar of luminous Adra rising from beneath the surface of water. Baedel takes you closer. Much of the stone is encrusted with coral, but the visible portions coil along the water in long, looping spirals. Adra normally grows in large pillars, but this formation looks almost like 7 tentacles of some terrible sea monster grasping for the sky. Shield Sister Dahlia whistles low. So old. Had to be in Gwithens. We gained 5 morale. Eldengram scoffs. Even they couldn't do that. That's Andra's slow, steady work. The Adra catches the sunlight, gleaming as if a glow from within. We see a picture of what the Adra looks like here. Rather than a pillar, it looks like tentacles. Indeed, it's hard to tell whether the Adra's strange contours have been shaped by slow wear of the sea or distorted by it, and something about that ambiguity makes the vision all the more extraordinary. The rest of the crew chimes in, debating the wonders, meaning, and origin in low, awed voices. So we can take a choice here and say it's either the gods or an ancient people. We could just kind of stoically say, let's move on. Rationally say we can't know where it's coming from. Or say it's the malice of the gods. I'm going to use the rational one here. There's no way to know where it came from. Enjoy it for whatever it is. Shield Sister Dahlia nods while Eldengram murmurs quiet prayer. The remainder of the crew nod and return to their duties. Shodi nibbles on her lips to hide a spreading smile. Beidel sails past the Adra, maintaining a safe distance. Oswald and Eldengram move to the aft castle, eyes locked in the Tiatara marvel, until it disappears below the horizon. We got 109 experience and 1 sailor experience. That's interesting. There's another one of those over here too. Maybe this little icon here, it looks like fungus almost growing on the ocean. Maybe it's just supposed to be ocean itself. Maybe that's just like a point of interest in the ocean. All right. So you have a kind of horseshoe island here.
Watcher, I was wondering if I could run something by you.
Good timing, Shodi. Jeez, what's on your mind?
Well, to put it simply, you are.
This is some kind of romance thing.
I've tried, but I can't get you out of my thoughts and dreams.
I think I know where this is going.
You do? I hope that's a good sign then. Or at least tops the usual omens I get. Forgive my audacity. I know I've got no place to, but I care for you. More than I can rightly say.
Fingers trembling, she wipes her damp palms on her tunic. I don't know if I've said anything about this, but in these kinds of games, romance is usually very cringy for me. And this game is no exception to that. I do love this game, but as far as romance goes, it's just, I don't know, not for me, I guess, which is why I'm one of the people who are actually happy that they chose to forego romance in Avowed, in the upcoming Avowed. Gonna continue?
I was wondering if you might return the sentiment.
You care for me as a friend. A friend's owner. She blushes fiercely from the tops of her ears to the tip of her nose.
More than that, I don't just care for you. I want you, Watcher. For always.
I'm flattered, really, but don't you think we've more important things to worry about?
Like gone on a rampage, and the coming darkness in the final harvest?
She grits her teeth, face a scarlet mask of anguish and determination.
Yeah, I suppose we do. Thank you for reminding me of my priorities.
One of the reasons I think it's cringy is because I just tend to be nice to people, and these games tend to view being nice as being romantically interested in, which, I don't know, it's kind of silly.
I'd be glad to.
There.
Yeah!
Over here. Just like that.
So we have here a Tahe? Is this, I wonder if Tahe is one of our bounties.
Mo.
This is futile! Of course.
The Tear of Saint Makawo. It's a necklace. Grants us martyr's memories, which minus 100% damage taken, untargetable for 10.4 seconds, paralyzed for 10.4 seconds. So you just kind of, the caster becomes petrified and untargetable for a brief time. So it's just kind of like a way to keep yourself safe for a little while. The small phial clasped on the end of this necklace is purported to contain the tears shed by the martyr Saint Makawo at the moment of his death. You got some fire kelp, troll skin, the ring of overseeing, which gives plus 10% area of effect. I might want to give that to Aloth. So that was not a bounty.
Indeed.
It was just a named troll. Have we fought a troll yet? Don't know that we have. Yeah, we have. Just as a reminder, trolls seem to take on the aspects of whatever environment they are a part of. So this, I think, was a sea troll. That's it. Another point of interest. The water darkens off the starboard bow of your ship, and jagged spurs and spits rise from the waves in the near distance. Raised voices carry from the helm. Shield Sister Dahlia gestures toward the broken water. We can cut days from our journey through here. The Baedel is clenching the wheel with white-knuckled determination. I don't care if it would fill our hold with rum. We're not sailing through a reef. Baedel notices you and relaxes. Captain, help me talk sense into Shield Sister Dahlia. Oswald, do we have charts to guide us through the reef? Oswald nods half-heartedly. They're patchy, but they'll do, assuming Baedel can get us through. Let's ask what the Tiatara Marvel is. We've already seen that, though. Rumdum Regair, what's the condition of our hull? He grins. Some good repair, Captain. I wouldn't sail through a reef myself, but if there's a good time to try, this is it. Take us through the reef. The dead coral juts from the surface, grasping above like legs of a spider, and the wind whistles as it passes across jagged structures. Below the water, schools of fish flash among the brilliant reefs. Baedel attempts to guide the ship, through the reef, but with a shudder that rattles your bones, the vessel scrapes against the reef. A sound of tearing wood echoes across the deck, and hands scatter, descending into the hold to locate and repair any damage before it spoils the stores. Baedel gained experience. The hull took 13 damage, and we lost some medical supplies. The variegated shallows give way to blue depths. An enormous sinkhole opens around you, yawning wide around to swallow a fleet. Baedel sighs with relief as Shield Sister Dahlia searches the horizon for any sign of the mythical marvel. The Defiant sails on. We gained morale. Okay. Anybody injured? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So we have a Zort Priest. This is a Sigil of Darkness over here. I don't think that's going to be a problem. We also have the Zord Priest is also with a Drake.
My hand.
Looks like trouble.
Just like that. That dog won't hunt.
This is Purikow. Is he named Drake?
Indeed.
Ring of the Solitary Wanderer. +1 resolve and grants Lone Wolf, which is minus 35% hostile effect duration, while there are no allies nearby, become exceptionally resistant to hostile effects. This ring was a prized possession of Mikhail Malloy, an Orland Bleakwalker of the Eastern Reach. Bleakwalker is an order of paladins. He was a solitary man and preferred to work alone whenever possible. His compatriots rarely objected. Few of them could stomach Malloy's presence for any prolonged period. To anyone present, he was a crude, cruel, and generally unlikable soul, even by the brutal standards of the Bleakwalkers. Malloy spoke at length of the countless foes he had bested, great beasts felled, and those he had crushed under his boot. If he was to be believed, the gods themselves trembled at his name. While few, if any, believed of his rambling tales, none could deny that the Orland was a hardy bastard, and had survived on his own through many lesser conflicts. After retiring, Malloy settled in Deerwood and lived a quiet, comfortable life. His many rivals and enemies, however, had not forgotten him. A few brief weeks into retirement, his body was discovered in his washroom. His neighbors, hardly surprised, testified to the bailiff that Malloy must have accidentally cut off his own head while shaving. Nothing had been stolen, save for his ring. So it seems like wherever he went, nobody really liked him. This is a token of faith, +2 resolve. We have some onyx, we have a vessel bone, we have scales, a Zorb tongue, and a Zorb quarterstaff. Some water.
Captain Parfitos never said a hard word as we sail all our troubles away. Hold fast to the helm, hold fast to the wind. Heave-ho, Excelente. On God's grace, all will all be still as we sail down the Deadfire way. We've gone a long way, left the logs behind. Heave-ho, Excelente. It caused me a sorrow most unkind while crossing down the Deadfire.
Solitary rice farm. It looks bountiful enough to welcome trade. Oh, so this is just a place we can buy things. I wonder if we've been here before. The Vailian Trench. Apologize in advance if it's not fun watching me make sure I get all these little patches of the fog of war. I just have to clear it. There's nothing in me that will allow little patches to remain. Uh-oh. It's coming after us. Some naval combat would be no good. If we surrender, he's gonna take stuff from us. Let's see if we can fight him. Saved fairly recently. This might not go well. summons we can here, I think.
Do it. Not exactly my area, but... Damn it!
Oh man.
That's on me. I can hold out. Stay with us.
Okay.
Need something stronger.
Zero's usually the last to die, so that's what happens when he gets his second win there. Alright, so I wonder if it's just because we were in a area of the map that we're really not supposed to be in. So maybe let's head. There's Fort Deadlight, there's Dunnage. Oh, Dunnage and Fort Deadlight are different places. Let's head north and we'll come back. Where's this forgotten catacomb? Have I been there already? Tangaloa's Maw and a forgotten catacomb? So just trade ships. Okay. I feel like, is there a quest that we have to do here? The fetid vegetal smell of decay alerts you to the swamp before you stumble upon it. It extends far into the distance, overgrown with ancient trees and vines. Solid patches of ground are few and far between. Crossing the morass will likely demand many miles of arduous travel. Forge ahead into the swamp. Success, nice. With patience and some careful maneuvering, you manage to keep yourself and the others out of the stinking morass and on dry ground. You come upon a particularly boggy stretch surrounded by dense trees with not a single patch of dry ground in sight. With no way forward but through, you forge ahead into the bog. You're startled by a chorus of moaning voices. You spin around searching for the source, but the moans seem to come from every direction at once. Through the trees you spot a narrow deer trail. You may be able to get free of the bog that way, but there's no telling where it leads. Let's head for the path. Definitely a dare. Success. With some quick thinking and a good guide sense, a dare leads you safely to the path. You pause to catch your breath before forging on, but don't have long to rest. The moaning grows louder and closer. You're surrounded. Got rock gas and skeletons.
Yeah, that's it.
More skeletons coming to get us. I wonder what this moaning was then. Was it just these rock gas?
No help here. Stand together. Lava.
Okay, so there's a guy up here. Oh no, that's a skeleton archer. Ravager, another skeleton. Uh-oh. I was not paying attention.
Feet. Can't take much more. I'm all right.
Losing allies.
Man, when did that happen?
Lava room beyond seek.
Got an exceptional hunting bow. I feel like Adair might be able to use that. At least keep it out.
Happily.
I hear you.
That it? Okay, so we're out of Tangaloa's Maw. Alright. The ruined tower, the fragment of a fallen keep, stands like a monument to ruin and a beacon for plunder. The narrow wooden tower rises high above you. Above the door at its base hangs a carved and painted mural of a Mira and Ngati engaged in fierce battle. That would be Hylia and Andra. The tower lists heavily to the side, just a few feet from tumbling over entirely. Gonna search it. Got Tandra Tara. More. The Grimoire of Disruption. That's it. Some fresh fruit there. A lush, narrow valley lies below you. You spot an overgrown stone structure built into the valley's side in the distance. Before the stone structure spreads a broad field peppered with ancient plinths and mounds of cracked stonework. As you move closer, you discover that the stone structure is actually the entrance to a crypt. Though the doorway is thick with mud and as damp as sweat-slick skin, you continue down into the dark. Okay, here we go. This is just a forgotten catacomb.
Hey,
I
I suppose it can't be helped.
A revenant ogre, huh?
Take that!
Moe.
Lava room beyond seek.
Just like that.
Let the light guide you to your death.
What is that laughing there? Sound like Shodi?
Of course.
Brutish blood and vessel flesh.
Looks like
Cresta. Alma.
Lava room beyond seek.
Oh, it's a vampire here. Okay.
take that!
Lava room beyond seek.
Moe. Ixie. Alma.
Get it? Death Guard fanatic?
Just like
Moe. Ixie. Alma.
Worse than rough.
Restoring health, reducing durations of negative for all allies in the area of effect. Okay.
Lava.
Rebirth waits
There's
me.
how I'll be. This is futile!
Moe. Ixie. Alma.
Very well.
What was that? Someone summoned a shade.
Come on.
Okay. Death guard's down. Oh, there was another vampire here. I didn't even realize it. So in an attempt to avoid the traps there, I think I made that fight more difficult on myself than I had to. But we got through it anyway. And we have some level ups. So as usual, I will level up through my characters. I'll just kind of go over the choices I make, but I will also put a timestamp on screen if you don't want to watch that, so you can just skip to the end. First, Pallegina. I wonder if I should... No, I'm going to stick to Arcana and Diplomacy. I'm going to stick to the ones that I've been doing. Choose an ability for any one class. Why can't I choose this one? Oh, because I already have it. Okay. I'll go to Paladin. I'll give her this. The paladin becomes resistant to perception afflictions like distracted, disoriented, and blinded. Give her a new weapon proficiency as well here. I'll stick these two-handed weapons. Give her an Estoc.
I found something. Over there.
Huh. I wonder what that little thing was. Athletics and survival. I wonder if there's a max. Going to give him this one. Improved critical. Increases the amount of damage dealt by critical hits. And then I will... got a mace. I'll be able to use maces. Or give him proficiency with maces. Religion and Arcana for Shodi. Beseeches the gods for one more time, extending the duration of all beneficial effects. Pillar of Holy Fire summons a flaming pillar of righteous anger, burning everyone in the area of effect. I'll give Shodi. Give Shodi. How about this one? Grants divine favor to an ally, imbuing them a resolute and tenacious inspiration as well as bonus engagement while the effects last. Let her use flails. Yarter. Mechanics and insight. Could give him the improved critical. Borrowed Instinct ransacks an enemy's intellect and perception for energy, causing damage to those enemy attributes while boosting the cipher's defenses and accuracy. And I'm trying to stick with the disruption spells for him. Maybe I'll just improve his crit. Oh wait, what's this? I'll make the psychic backlash even stronger and inflict raw damage. Okay, that's better. Maybe make him proficient in another one-handed weapon. What a rapier. And finally, Aloth. Metaphysics and explosives. I'm going to give him far casting so he can stay a little bit further away. Let him cast spells from further away. Can already use all the magical instruments, implements. Can use a rapier. I'll give him a dagger. Is that right? Dagger proficiency. Okay. Gonna rest 2. Okay, rested up, leveled up. Let's see what we got here. We have Reckless Brigandine. Exceptional heavy armor. The name of the the additional effects: +2 armor rating and +5% action speed in melee, and then +1 enemies engaged. The name of the warrior who wore this ancient armor has been lost to history. The tales of their many battles serve both as an ideal to strive for and a cautionary tale. The Reckless One, as they're known, was unequaled in courage and left a trail of defeated enemies in their wake during their time in the Deadfire. That is one explanation among several. Popular theory holds that the Reckless One is the title passed down to anyone who donned this armor, and that those with this claim are as numerous as grains of sand on a beach. I don't know if Pallegina can use heavy armor, but maybe that would be good for her. She also got an exceptional mace, an exceptional battle axe, and an exceptional warbow. That one I think is better for Adair. Adair does not have proficiency with hunting bows. And I'm going to actually equip him with that right now before I forget. Also got a ring for him, for Ella. Oh, he's already got that. He's already got the ring of overseeing, Ella does. uses medium armor.
Of course.
Some jade and golden opal.
Indeed. That's not very helpful.
I think that is Shodi laughing. Like a tomb in here. This is quite the burial chamber here. I guess for that vampire, maybe the Death Guard. Potion of the focus mine and some copper fires. Let's see. Have we fought a Death Guard? I don't think so. So this is a Death Guard is a level 10 vessel. Extraordinarily rare, Death Guards are sometimes created upon the demise of a particularly determined individual who refuses to leave the physical world for the beyond. Paladins are most susceptible to this terrible transformation, but priests and other exceptional zealots often suffer the same fate. Death Guards occupy their former bodies, but the energy that allows the soul to remain in the physical world rapidly consumes the flesh, leaving only bone behind. They're often driven mad by their state and are terrifying foes to behold, striking fear into those unlucky few who encounter them. When vampires wish to avoid the gradual decay associated with their condition, they can engage in risky, expensive, and extremely painful process that separates their tissues from the bone and leaves a perfectly aware skeleton behind. In this case, essence does not decay in the flesh and instead resides in bone, a much hardier substance. Since the newly created Death Guard requires virtually nothing to survive and will not naturally decay further, it can live, in quotes, until it is killed. Their limited connection to the beyond allows them to summon fearsome balls of flame, summon shadows, and even slay the living with a word. So it mentions vampires. So is this saying that vampires can willfully turn into Death Guards to extend their unlife, I guess? Or does that mean that they can use Death Guards? I think it means that they can actually turn into Death Guards. And then in the first game, Radric, I believe, turned into a Death Guard at the end.
Happily.
In the ending slides. The soil here has been disturbed recently. Oh, is that it here? Looks like it. And we get to name an island. Haven't got many suggestions, but I have got some suggestions, so let me go take a look for those. While I'm doing this, just a reminder, if you are watching and you would like to suggest a name for an island, would love to hear from you. The suggestions I have were suggestions for an island, like an island that I like, an island guarding a secret, or an island that I disliked. I don't know that any of those apply to this one. Okay, and we do have one here by a fellow Aoran lore master. He wanted me to name a island after him, so here you go, Gingerino. Let's not just name it Gingerino, though. Let's name it... There's a Death Knight here. And vampires. So there's a lot of vessels. So I'm going to name this island Gingerino's Vessel. So this is the island where Gingerino will continue living as the island itself. There we go. Gingerino's Vessel. Thank you for the suggestion. And if you haven't checked out Gingerino's podcast, The World of Aora, definitely do that. Very interesting. The episodes are much more focused than mine. I just kind of do what I do here. His podcast episodes are focused on a singular part of Aoran lore, and he's also been doing that for years. So I would be surprised if you have heard of these videos but haven't heard of his. But just in case, go check those out. Again, that's World of Aora on Spotify. All right, so we have one of our first named islands here. I haven't really done that much exploring, so we haven't got to name too many of them. But maybe we'll continue exploring at this point. So now that we have named 2 unexplored islands, I think we just need to name 1 more to complete Sansa's, at least the first part of Sansa's quest. Just mapping, yeah. Explore the Uncharted Islands around Port Mage. So let's head back down there. Maybe there's something like over here near Fort Deadlight. Or I don't know, maybe it's over here. I don't know, but it says around Port Mage, so we should head toward Port Mage. Oh. I just... Oh, here it is. Okay. I just started. Again, I saved it and quit out of the game, and then I started playing again, so it was slow. I was just looking for the fast forward. Now I'll let them sing. Sorry to stop them. I think that might be my favorite shanty. Is Meryl the Mad? I think Meryl the Mad is, yeah, one of the bounties that I have.
At once.
Could be.
Can't
do it.
She's surrounded by a bunch of vessels. Well, maybe that's Isilmir that's laughing like that. Aloth's the soul living within Aloth. Got a Stone of Power. Gives you +1 intellect and grants power surge. Nothing too special though.
Indeed.
Sure thing.
Where you expect to find a small Hawaiian village is instead a pile of rubble. Several large pits run down its middle. As you near, you realize the pits are in fact the footprints of a kith who must have been as tall as a mountain. There might be something in the wreckage worth salvaging yet. And only some palm stone, and that's it. Okay. That one doesn't have to be named. I think, like, the ones that are named have to have, like, some kind of cavern or something on them. I was going to try and go after Asilla the Wave Skipper over here, because that also is a bounty, but this ruddy rabble guy, 4th level ranger. This should be over quickly.
I'm no help here.
No can do.
We're doing experience, 1 sailor experience. Bunch of people gained a rank. We got the Triumph of Ruddy Rabble. The Personal Triumph of Ruddy Rabble, huh. And then Principe colors. A new cannon, too. Oh, let's share the coins with the crew. So one of the mechanics here is the crew's morale. You'll see me here. It says status lively. Because they have 100 out of 100, their bonus experience is plus 20%. Morale measures the crew's overall attitude and sense of common purpose. The mental and emotional health of the crew is vital to success in combat. Poor morale may lead to brawls among the crew and even mutiny. The higher we keep that up, the better our crew will be. But also, very importantly, the higher your morale, the more likely they are to sing sea shanties. This is a bounty right here.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Just like that. How do you oblige?
Hey, that wasn't that bad.
This will not do!
Oh, good.
I suppose it can't be helped.
Yes! Yes!
Got Principe colors because she was a member of the Principe. Exceptional greatsword. And cottonweave sails. Ooh, that might be good for us. Share coins. Okay. Alright, so got some bounties out of the way. You come upon an abandoned sloop run aground on the beach. The nearby coral and volcanic rocks may have smashed its hull into kindling, but there might still be something salvageable in the hold. Got some supplies, repair supplies. Some milk. More supplies. Nothing. Currency. Fire kelp. And that's it. Uh-oh. I haven't saved in a while. Okay, so I tried to flee, didn't work. So I was able to run there. I got -5 morale for that, but whatever. This one looks like something we would be able to name. Amir's Whisper and a Temple of Tangaloa Ruins. An Imposter's Lament. A light fog curls about your ankles. Breathless, whispering voices call to you from the darkness. They cry in half-uttered sentences, in moans, gurgles, screams. What few words you can make out among the chorus beg for mercy, for an end to their pain. Step into the fog. Wisps around your torso and cling to Wisps wind around your torso and cling to your skin. The cries become shouts, the chorus screams. The fog thickens until you see nothing but its swirling, ghostly shape. Dark forms appear in the fog. They encircle you one moment and disappear the next. Ask Shodi to draw the spirits into her lantern. I think it's time for you lost lot to find the light. This way now. That's right. Aloth nods, a quiet smile etched across his lips. The dense fog swirls into Shodi's lantern. You hear the faint tink of metal striking the ground. You bend down to examine it and discover a small necklace. The stone at its center sparkles with the red of a fire's dancing flame. Unhindered by the fog, you are now free to continue exploring the island. You got Elois's Locket, plus 10% accuracy against spirits, and plus 1 intellect. Crafted from silver and inlaid with bloodstone, this necklace bears a short inscription and a deer identifying the owner, the former first mate of the Imposter's Lament, which is that shipwreck that's on this island. Within its compartment rests a curled lock of light brown hair. Spiritual essence infuses the pendant, lending both it and its wearer an otherworldly air. So it looks like we were able to avoid some combat there. This is the Imposter's Lament, that ship that she was on. Waves batter a splintered hull that doggedly refuses to sink. Whoever abandoned this may have left something behind. A grand old galleon sits just off the shore, listing so hard to the side its top deck stands nearly vertical. Its main mast must have been snapped clean in half, as if by the hand of an angry beast. Sift through the wreckage. Got some repair supplies, flint and tinder, nothing, and that's it. Ahead of you lie the ruins of an ancient complex. As you near the tumble-down stone entrance, you notice several curious drawings, scrawled across the stone in a flaking brown paint. You bend down to get a better look and discover that the drawings depict violent images of decapitations, dismemberings, hangings, and sundry other terrors. Enter the ruin. Light from the distant torches flickers on the ruined walls. Unintelligible words float to you on a breeze that reeks of carrion and the metallic tang of blood. Okay, so this is the Temple of Tangaloa ruins. Tangaloa. I think that's one part of Bareth.
Uh-huh.
The snake god, according to the Huana. Fat bubbles thick on the surface of this pot. The rising steam smells sweetly of meat. This is Angfor's journal. 3 in Oton, 2827 AI. I found this water-stained notebook at the bottom of my satchel, and now, having no use for it, I must record my thoughts, or I fear I'll go mad in the solitary confinement of my own head. Months have passed, and still we are stranded on this cursed island. What few supplies we had with us at the time of our calamity have dwindled away to little more than dust and crumbs. When it became clear that we would be trapped on this island for some time, we began to ration our food. It was half rations at first, but as the days wore on, and help became ever less a possibility and ever more a dream, we took only one meal a day, then one meal every 2 days. Fresh water, at least, is plentiful. It bubbles up from a crack in the stone near the ruins. No doubt it is pushed to the surface by some unseen force of volcanism. I should have liked to have my instruments on hand to record its rate of flow and volume, but those are long since gone, likely resting at the bottom of the sea. Our numbers shrink day by cursed day. Always now my clothes smell of rancid meat, of sweat and smoke. The jerky we made from Carl's thigh has gone off. We had thought he might survive the amputation, but he passed away in the night 2 days ago from a fever in his blood. So that's the first day of this journal here. I'm guessing that the Imposter's Lament crash landed here, and they had been stranded for a really long time, so were forced to go to extreme measures in order to survive. And this jerky they had from Coral's thigh was maybe the first time that they dabbled in cannibalism. They thought that he would survive, but he passed away. This is 16 Prioton, 2827. We've better learned how to cure our meat, but our blades have gone dull, and we've only seawater with which to cleanse them. None have survived an amputation since Coral's tragic passing, so we no longer bother with the practice. More's the pity, I was becoming an old hand at it. Elois was lost to us today. It pains me to write the words, though her passing comes as no surprise. She drew the shortest reed, so they were choosing who would be eaten by picking a reed. At least then the people who were being eaten consented to it. Our necklace I intended to keep, but it has gone missing since her death. I'd always thought it suited her, that the stone matched the light in her eyes. I wanted to remember that light. Perhaps someone is hiding it, though I do not know why they would do me such an unkindness. I was meant to have it. She never said as much, but I know. I'll perform a search of the others' belongings when I next have the midnight watch. Woe betide the thief. So we have that necklace. 13 Majroton, 2827 AI. A chill wind has found us. It blows ceaselessly across the isle, whipping our shelters into disarray and peppering our meals with sand. We take shelter in the nearby ruins, though I'm loath to do it. Always that place has seemed to me befouled by some unfriendly spirit, for I hear whispers when the wind blows. They cry for mercy, for salvation. Another of the crew has disappeared this morning. Some suspect he tied stones to his wrists and walked himself into the sea, but they are wrong. I saw him walk while he was dreaming, with jerky movements of not his own. He wandered deep into the ruins and did not return. This is 20 Majroton. So few of us remain. I envy them, the departed. Their souls are returned to the wheel and free to find new lives to lead. We unlucky few receive no such boon, and that is what we have been given, a gift. We suffer so that they might be free. Arlander says we might fashion a raft large enough to escape this place. He is mad. We belong to the Isle now, as it belongs to us. So I guess a kind of Stockholm Syndrome for the Isle? I don't know. This is a crazed marauder, warlock, zealot, ogre pirate, and a crazed priest. So a bunch of crazed. And this is Captain Angfor. He's the one who was doing the journal.
Ribs last night.
Bet you they're attacking us because they want to eat us.
Hey, that wasn't that bad.
Don't whack him any harder.
Mo, Dixie, on us.
Very well.
Some brutish blood, some forbidden flesh pie. Kith meat. Yep, all the things a cannibal might have. Kith meat recipe. This paper is ragged-edged and stained with grease. Notes in a barely legible hand detail the preparation of a dish from the cook's childhood called sweet-tongued terrine, but substituted with meat of an unusual provenance. At the bottom, someone has scrawled, "Make for Yolina in June when I get back home." Ugh. Gotta make it for, I guess, like kids and spouse or something? Bones scored by jagged cuts and picked clean of meat and marrow lie in a disorganized heap.
Absolutely.
This is Giordi red-handed. Got some white leaf and an antidote.
Look, there is something over there.
Some coins, some more kith meat and turquoise. You find a middle-aged dwarf tied to a post, a pile of bloody refuse scattered at his feet. His beard is a matted mess and his face is streaked with dirt. Despite his haggard state, he twists against his bonds when you approach.
Bless your neckers. You're just in time. Another moment more and I would have been dinner.
What happened here? We already know that, but let's ask him.
It's a right sorry tale, I'm afraid to say. Our ship, a beautiful ship she was too, ran aground in a storm. Waves so high we couldn't see a damn thing, you understand? Come to discover this here island's about as barren as an ancient lecher's bed. Not a scrap of nothing edible on it. And none of us were especially keen to take our turn about the wheel, so...
He trails off, unable to meet your eye.
As the months wore on and no one came looking for us, we started running low on crew and, victuals. I think what few of us were left here at the end might have gone a little nutty.
Who are you?
Jordan, red-handed of the Impostors Lament. Well, formerly of the Impostors Lament.
He laughs a little too loudly.
Something of a lifelong deckhand I am. Picked up cooking in the last few months, too. Meat's my speciality, on account of the, well, you know, the business here, with the cannibalism.
Let's untie him.
My wrists thank you mightily.
He takes a moment to flex and bend his hands, working the circulation back into them. His lips twist into a grimace when he runs his fingers over the deep bruises of the ropes left.
Say, you got a ship? Couldn't get here without one, right? You by chance have any spots open for an old dwarf like me? I might not look it, but I'm a deft hand with the rigging. Can even cook some.
I guess we'll invite a cannibal. I don't think he'll start killing our crew.
I owe you one, Captain. A death like this, I'm not sure I'll ever be able to repay you. You like stew? I got a great recipe. Flavor's real different, like nothing you ever tasted. I'll make it for you. You know, in thanks.
I don't know if that was a good idea, but it did seem like they resorted to cannibalism because that was their only choice, not because they were really excited to try kith meat. Some of the bones in this pile are cracked and bleached with age. Got some agate and some currency. I think that's it. Yep. right. So that is the third one. So we just got a quest to return to Sansa. Now we have to find a name for this one. Last one I named Gingerino's Vessel. He gave me actually a few suggestions. So let me take a look at those now. Okay, so this is not... Unfortunately, there is some like accent marks and stuff that I won't be able to type here. This is not something that Gingerino suggested to me, but he did suggest like a few different words in the native of the A White That Wins, or Joma, I believe it's called. That's the language they speak there. The Pale Elves will speak, and since Bjartur is a Pale Elf, it makes sense. He had a few here that I didn't think really fit, but I do think this one fits. This, Skir Hrel. And there should be an accent over the I and the E there, which I can't put here. Skir Hrel is a fermented whale blubber, which is a Glenfellan delicacy. I think that's kind of an ironic name for this island, so I think it fits really well. So that's what we're going to go with, Skirhrel. All right. I think maybe we should do a little bit more exploring. I don't know if we'll run aground to things that are too high a level for us at this point, but since we're down here, we might as well. You'll see here, this is the edge of the map, these clouds here, the unnatural straight line. Indicates that it's the edge of the map. It's a solitary rice farm that we can trade with. We don't really need anything right now, though. Sand-swept ruins. So this combat here is above our level. We still have a few things we can explore here. Come upon an abandoned Huana village. The few of its huts that haven't been blown across the Deadfire countryside lie in ruins. Trees filled by strong winds litter the village's periphery. A handful of structures still stand, however, and might hide something worth salvaging. I'm wondering, we've run into a couple of these abandoned Huana villages. One of the things that we've learned about the Huana in the Deadfire archipelago, they tend to have a kind of nomadic lifestyle in the way that they set up a village. They live there for as long as they can before things start to deplete, and they don't have that much left to continue living there. Plus, I think they try to move before it's completely depleted. They try to move when things are just getting low. That way they could leave, things could get back to thriving, and then eventually someone else will be able to live in the area that they had left. So I wonder if that's what these abandoned villages are. They are just Huana settlements that didn't get attacked or anything like that. They just said naturally this is the time that we have to leave. And I wonder if that's what these abandoned villages indicates. Okay, so let's search. That's some palmstone, and that's it. I might just want to at least go into this area, because I have a theory about what it might be, and just to see it, not actually take part in it. Rudagon. Yes, so this is, there are a few... Oh, Oh no. I did not want to do that.
Up ahead.
There are a few islands here that have some extremely tough combat encounters. This is one of them, Darudagon, who is some kind of Ingwithan construct. Well, I'm saying Ingwithan, it might not be Ingwithan, but that's what it looks like to me. And this is one of them. So I'm not going to try to do this right now. I don't think I have ever done any of the fights. I've tried them and failed. Oh, we see another Colossus over here. But I'm definitely not going to try it now. I'll try it maybe when we're fully leveled towards the end of the game. See if I can actually take part in them. I also wonder if there's lore hidden behind those things that I don't know about because I just haven't taken part in them. There's a few different places to go here. Searing hot winds rip across the dunes. You shield your face from an onslaught, but it's of little use. Sand makes its way into every vulnerable little crevice it can find. You spot a structure ahead. Forge ahead through the sandstorm. Up close, it appears to be the ruins of an ancient Tuana building, perhaps a temple. An obscured entrance leads to a sand-covered hillside.
Look,
Yeah, I was gonna
there
say,
is something over there.
this looks like something. I think there's a right path or something like that.
Happily.
Let's see what happens
Okay.
here.
Certainly. Look there. Indeed.
We got all the traps. Looks like it. Got a fine flail and golden dukes. Oh, what's this? Secret entrance to something.
How about... Of course.
Am I getting traps every single time I do this? I think I am, but at least it's not going into his inventory.
Indeed. Interesting.
It's kind of tedious, but at least I'm able to do it. Let's get everybody up here.
What can I do? At once.
Well, you know what? First, let's go to the secret entrance. Maybe there's like a list of a path we can take.
If we could rest for a bit, I'd be much obliged.
Wow, we got a wound for each one of those. Okay.
I am ready. Of course. no use. I cannot get through.
Okay. Let's see if I can cast spells
May I
at
help?
it.
Of course.
Lava beyond sick.
Whoa. Cast them back at us. Huh. Okay. Maybe there is something back here.
What can I do? I'd be glad to. How about...
This is going to be annoying. I'm going to, just for this part here, turn off automatic pausing when a trap is detected. And stop party movement.
Happily.
I mean, we get... I get experience for every single one I disarm, so why not do this? Maybe I'll end up skipping through this in the actual playthrough, or fast forwarding it or something.
I can't do it. Indeed. Look there. Happily.
Oh, okay.
How about that? Of course.
This one I can't disarm yet. I think I'm gonna hit. Yeah, that's what I thought.
At once. Quietly now. I don't feel well.
Oh man. Do I have a potion that can up my perception or even my mechanics? Oh, that's what I was looking for. Scrolls. Nope. Okay.
I'd be glad to.
Maybe I'm gonna have to come back here. Unless, let's try this.
Tell me.
Wanting to try out some explosives. So let's craft a lightning bomb. See what happens if I throw it at this thing here.
Gladly.
This is futile! There's a walloping!
I mean, it did hurt it, but not that much. Okay. I'm gonna have to come back here, I think. Oh. I can name this place. Okay, so this one was annoying to me. And Gendrito's getting a lot of shoutouts in this one. And he mentioned something. Skit is a scatological swear. It's for an island I disliked exploring. And that was... Oh no! Let me see if I can reload that. Okay. So, skit or skite maybe? He suggested for an island I disliked exploring, and this was annoying, so I think that's a good one. Skit, skite. Alright. I'm surprised we were able to name this. It was just those ruins there. We still have this guy to beat, and there's still some kind of combat thing over here. So let's see if we can do this one at least. I think we can do things that are just one level above us. We've done that before. The path winds up into the hills, narrowing to a little wider than a cart. The cliffs offer a sheer drop down into the crashing sea, the water foaming white where it throws itself against the rocks. You realize that what you initially took to be several large, lumpy stones are in fact Jotuns, two-headed monstrosities. As you watch, one of them absent-mindedly lifts a boulder and hurls it into the sea. The Jotuns guffaw, and their laughter guttural. You can speak to it. Let's look for an alternate route. Adair points out a narrow ledge that winds along the edge of the cliffs, bypassing the Jotun. You could attempt the crossing, but a drop in the waters below could certainly prove deadly. Let's sneak up on the Jotuns. Oh, failure. Pelagina leads you along the cliff, stepping lightly and keeping low, when a heavy grunt from above draws your attention upward. The Jotuns glower down at you, one of them pointing down at you with a sausage-like finger, the other bellows, a roar you worry will throw you from the outcropping. The stone shakes with their approach. So let's see if we can do this.
There's a walloping!
I'll make it.
Didn't work.
Yotur's not looking good.
No need.
This is futile!
Did he not actually cast the spell?
Can't make a dent.
Lorethrough, be on
That's the stuff.
That must have hurt.
Oof.
Stand together!
Nothing I can do.
I feel like the archer didn't cast the spells that I wanted him to cast. He has so much focus. Oh, he still got through it. Got some grog, some white yennefer, and some brutish blood.
I hear you.
So those were Jotuns, and we have not fought Jotuns yet. So let's take a look. They're in the ogre class. Jotuns feature in the most grotesque of folktales. Once merely the most aggressive and unstable of ogres, Jotuns have since developed into massive monstrosities that are both larger and far less intelligent than their cousins. Jotuns have two heads, one notably smaller than the other, and when the larger of these is incapacitated, the smaller retains just enough brute cunning to keep an Jotun fighting until either it or its prey is dead. It's common to encounter their kind with rotting skulls dangling from their neck. A Jotun's unpredictable temper and total inability to conform to ogre society brand it an outcast. Ogre males or females who produce Jotun offspring are forbidden from breeding again, and their unfortunate progeny are either killed on the spot or left to the mercy of the wilderness. The latter is undoubtedly what has led to mature Jotuns being found in rural areas, much to the detriment of easily preyed upon livestock. So these guys are kind of nasty. They are very brutish. They don't seem to have much intelligence, which means they just attack on sight. They are related to ogres, but ogres can actually be somewhat intelligent. Seems like Jotuns cannot be. Another combat encounter that's a little bit above our level. As you descend from the high mountain paths, you find a small camp nestled in the sand. Tents, tired horses with their legs camped out, campfires crackling. It seems far too active for an ambush to be in wait. A small group approaches a motley band of kith bearing quality arms and armor. The foremost, a deeply tanned dwarf, raises a hand in greeting. "You coming down the path?" she asks. "Don't suppose that means you've dealt with those filthy Jotuns, does it?" "I dealt with them, permanently." The woman claps. "Outstanding! Best damn news I've heard in weeks." The Almaua, standing behind the dwarf, sighs. "And here I thought we'd have an opportunity to test our mettle on this venture." The robed pale elf glances at her. "Death finds us all in time. Wachka. No need to rush his embrace." That's a kinsman down here. The dwarf gestures toward the tent. "Seeing as you've gotten our whole venture started up again, the least we could do is let you share a fire for a spell." Join their camp. You step into the camp and come in to sit beside a fire. Although it looks like they intended to put it out before you got there, the Almaua feeds it another log. The dwarf gestures to a pot hanging over the flames. "Got some stew left, fish and vegetables, nothing fancy." "I'd like to know more about your company." I wonder if we took that alternate path around the Jotuns before, we would have been able to join up with these guys and have them help us in the fight. "I'd like to know more about your company." The dwarf taps the scar on her dusky chin. "Well, we formed in the Living Lands. It's where Midge and me hail from." She gestures to the short Orlin. "She's our mindbreaker. Franco here is from old Valia, sworn brother of the Darkozy Palladini." A tall man clangs a gauntlet against his breastplate and bows at the waist. So they formed in the Living Lands. They have a Vailian. They have a pale elf. I wonder if we'll run into these guys in the Living Lands. Franco, Midge. Xandrin gestures to the pale elf. That's Lisoldier from White the Wens. He handles the magic. And Watchka, she nods to the island Dalmawa, left Rawatai when she ran out of things to put her axe in. Anyone else you see around's a hireling, but still some of the best. We've been all over the Living Lands and Deadfire both. This is a company very much like our own, from many different places of the world. We have an Adiran, we have a Red Saren, we have a White That Wins, we have a, I guess there is another Red Saren, and then a Vailian in Palagina. Midge grins. Right now we're drawing coin off an Adiran noble as members of the Deadfire Archipelago Explorers Society. The Orlan chuckles quietly. More or less. What are the Living Lands like? Xandrin inhales deeply. Absolutely incredible. You've never seen so much green. Birds every color of the spectrum, lizards like living statues of gem, and the hunting. Didn't know how much I'd miss it until I left. Midge nods along pensively. Sure, half the plants are like to try to eat you, but at least there's something to see. She scowls out at the desert. Why'd you leave? Xandrin breaks her gaze, turning her attention to the campfire. Her dog died. The slow deer states simply as if nothing the weather. The dwarf winces. Fang's a wolf, not a dog, and a good one besides. I kept him with me. She rests a closed fist between her breasts. Always will. Know anything about this island? The explorer shakes her head with a snort. Hardly seen most of it. Came on land a few miles that way. She jerks a thumb toward the western coast. God's benighted Jotun prevented us from going any further. The Vailian grouses, and the Orlan's ears bounce with her vigorous nod. The dwarf smiles. We're looking for some ruins that are supposedly out here. Island's so desolate, though, it's hard to imagine anyone building on it. It's certainly sandy, thanks. I guess the joke here is they told us that the desert has a lot of sand in it. The Vailian laughs, a warm, quick sound that slips away as quickly as it appeared. Ach, quite true. I've sand in places I didn't know I had. I weep for the women who will know me after this place. The Orlan shakes her head. We all weep for the women with the misfortune to know you. Jealousy, he winks at you. Midge resents my innumerable conquests. Midge crosses her arm, and raspberries. Hardly. I can attempt to steal from them, but I am not going to do that. I'm going to eat and rest. You eat with the explorers, sharing tales over a dying fire. Eventually you call it a night, and they offer you a fallen comrade's tent for the evening. Waking up, you thank the group and take your leave. They wish you safe travels. That was a nice little interaction there. Hope they do well. All right. Uh-oh. These are slavers. Let's get them. Level 10. It's a little tougher than the other ones we fought, but probably, hopefully still doable.
I'm sorry.
Yes!
I lost it.
I just realized that when we board these ships, we even have to kill those who are enslaved.
That was about as useful as a bump on a pickle. Glory be to God! Too slow. No can do.
Lava room beyond seek.
For morale gained. weird that that musical cue always plays twice whenever we win a boarding ship battle. Uh-oh. Deadfire merchants, just some merchants. This is a Vailian mill. Such sites are convenient meeting places for merchants. We can buy some hardtack and lager if we want to. I'm not going to do that right now. Fresh fruits, medical supplies. Have a burial site. A tomb rises from the earth before you. Its stone exterior is well wrought and decorated with reliefs of Tangaloa and Ngati. It likely houses the body of someone important to a local Huana tribe. Search the location. Hopefully that doesn't mean we're digging up bodies. So far just some coins, a sigil to, I think it was a sigil of atrophy, which means that those, if we run into a sigil of atrophy, those totems or whatever they are, then we can avoid the negative effects of it. Which makes me realize, I wonder if we had the right sigil to avoid those 4 that were in the area before. Maybe I'll go check that out since we're down here now. The remains of a tower lie strewn on the ground before you. The stone structure seems to have tumbled over during an earthquake. The tower appears abandoned. Not even a corpse remains. Mother of pearl. Flint and tinder. That's it. Oh, who's this? A Principe. Well, that's everything on this island. I think I'm going to head back to Skit. Check out what those sigils were and see if maybe I can activate. What's going on there? Activate something that will make me immune to them.
Certainly.
Okay. So these are sigils of death. We have sigil of atrophy wardstone. Okay. Shodi's got a sigil of nightmares wardstone. Adair's got atrophy. Okay, so we don't have any sigil of death wardstones. So we'll have to stay true to my idea to come back to this place later. Wonder if there is a way to make a note on this island. Let me see if I can do that. Doesn't look like it. Okay. So we'll just have to remember that that place has a sigil of death that I would like to ward against. Where are we headed to now? I'm just gonna head back to Neketaka, I guess. Talk to Sansa. Get our rewards for those bounties. And that'll probably be it for this session. Oh, what's this? No. Also clear the clouds around Neketaka there. I'm drinking water now, which they don't like. That's okay. I'll have plenty of time. Uh-oh. This is an unaffiliated trade ship. Is Widla someone that we need to... Nope. Let's see if they attack us. It's like they are coming after us. They get up. Can I install like new cannons and stuff here? Yes, I can. Just give myself some new cannons. And a new sail. Let's go to Sansa's Map Emporium first.
Welcome back, welcome back. It is a pleasure to see you once again. Tell me, how is the sailing? Smooth? Nothing to delay your expedition, I hope. How might I assist you?
Got some material for your book.
Ah, how exciting. Let's see here. Goodness, that's not what I was expecting. And so close to Porto Mage. You've done wonderfully. Oh, this book will be the best thing since Cassini's adventures, and that was all romantic rubbish. Here, your pay, my friend. We're only getting started, of course. There's more to see. Tikawara next, I think. How does that strike you? It's a little Huana village out to the southeast. 3 islands this time, all nameless and unloved. They form a little triangle around Tikawara, if you squint. I'll be waiting.
Okay, so we have the next area of exploration. Okay, so who do we have to go to? Did we kill Drusilla? No, we didn't. We killed Asilla Wave Skipper. And Meryl the Mad. So I have to go to the Brass Citadel and the Wild Mare. So the Wild Mare is right here. I can also treat my party to a nice room.
Now, what can I do for you? You see anything you like?
It's a really nice room. Constantine's room. We've got the money for it. Constantine, we have him on our ship. He is one of the... I forget what they call him. He can join our party, but he doesn't have any, like, involved quest like the other companions do. So we get +3 dexterity and a 30% chance to reflect against spells. Alright, so who do we have to talk to in here? We have to talk to Aboko. This guy here.
Ado, my hunter. To what do I owe this delight?
Aboko raises a tankard and winks. Give Meryl's head. She joins the goddess of death and beyond.
My first bounty to pay off. An exciting day for us both. Maybe it's not much, but as I make more deals, more pyres will be available, Ak?
What bounties do you have available?
I finally managed to land the rights to a bounty of value. You may not like it. There is a thirsty drake who roosts near an oasis northeast of Maji Island. An important site for refilling canteens.
I think we might have killed that drake already.
The local tribes call him Purakeo, after a sea dragon of legend. Even so, they have no love for this water thief.
Yeah, I was right. Here's your thirsty drake.
To think that such a magnificent creature could also be a water-hoarding pest. Dragons are a complicated bunch.
He hefts the head and looks deeply into its eyes before passing you payment.
Agrasima, my friend. You will let me know if you are interested in more work, Ak?
What bounties do you have available?
A marauder gang boss called Nomu broke free of custody along with the rest of his plunder buddies. It is said they wasted no time getting up to their old tricks. Prison is too kind for a pirate. So there is a bounty on Nomu's head. He and his ilk fled to the wilderness north of Neketaka.
I like that you can run into these people before you actually get the quest to kill them. It means that, like, we don't have to get the quest and go back to places we've already been just to kill some other person. Because, once again, I already have Nomu's head. Here, catch.
I hope I will still find this disgusting when I am important enough to toast with the elite bounty hunters.
He lifts the severed head by the hair, wincing all the while, and passes you a pouch of coins.
I tell them all that the captain of your ship will always be my favorite hunter.
What bounties do you have available?
A sea troll has been making a name for himself raiding fishing villages with his minions. They call him Tahe. That's thief to the locals. I hear the Huana hate few things more than a food stealer. Warriors fan out to catch the fiend, but so far they have no luck. Tahe can't have roamed far from his latest raid on an island southwest of Neketaka.
I think I even commented on these guys that they were named. I was surprised that they weren't bounties, but that's why I didn't actually get the bounty quest yet. I have Tahe's head. I hope he enjoyed his last meal.
You have done us both a favor. My esteem in the bounty community rises, and hunters come to buy me drinks.
He chuckles to himself and passes you a pouch of coins.
My friend, you have drained the wellspring and made us both very famous. If you have not spoken to her yet, find the Goldpack Knight Okauro in Sacred Stair. She can give you more work.
Nice doing business with you, Aboko. Alright, that was lucrative. Now to the Brass Citadel. I wonder if it... Let me see. Have we got... Dwergus? Oh, no, wait. It doesn't tell us who gave this quest. Because I don't know if I don't remember if I've talked to that Goldpack Knight yet or not. At the Sacred Stair. Where do we have to go? Fleetmaster Wakoyo. I think... Oh, you know what? Before I do that, save in case we run into something on the way there. Fleetmaster's office, yeah.
My favorite privateer. Clear skies.
You don't have to worry about a Scylla wave skipper anymore.
Pirates are adept at scattering when threatened. But this makes planting your boot on the neck of a straggler all the sweeter.
Mokoyo counts out a bag of coins and presents it with one arm crossed over his chest.
I would keep my privateer busy. You will speak to me when you are ready for work, yes?
What bounties do you have available?
Your target is Radolf, a Vailian captain and seeker of lost ruins. There is no wicked length he would not go to plunder the dignity of these isles.
I'll take the bounty.
My confidence swells to hear of this, Captain. Radolf commands the galleon Goldbell and seeks for ruins east of Neketaka, on the southwestern tip of the Kua-Orakuhu island chain.
Oh, well, I don't know if that would give us a negative reputation by killing a Vailian, but I don't know if he's like a bad guy and just happens to be Vailian, or if he's actually doing these things for the Vailian Trading Company. I'm not sure about that, in which case Pelagina might not be too thrilled with us. Just looking at my health numbers down here, I wonder why I have more health. Like my max, my current health is more than my max health. I wonder what the reason for that is. Okay, so that though is going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed the kind of exploring bit. We're not really moving ahead story, but we're just kind of exploring the islands around the Deadfire, which I really enjoy doing. I don't know how fun it is to watch, so you'll have to let me know if you do have any thoughts on that. But as always, thank you for joining me. Please let me know if you have any comments, questions, clarifications, those kinds of things. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope to see you next time for more sentences and paragraphs. Bye, everybody.